up, you guys? It's Miles. Someone stole my skateboards out of my garage. I don't really know what to do with this information, but if you'd like to have a meetup at my local skate park, we inevitably find some 13-year-old riding my skateboard, and then we can all collectively confront them as like a big queer skate posse, that'd be great. It's freaking Pride Month! I was the kid who was very content with never coming out. I was like, it's not gonna go well for me, I already know this. I'm comfortable and confident in myself, I could just do me without anyone else knowing. And then like, I'll be fine and fulfilled in life, right? It doesn't work that way. I was the kid who was forced in the closet and then forced out of the closet. I was the kid who was not accepted. I was the kid who turned to self-harming and really destructive ways of coping with not being okay with themselves. And now, somehow I'm the kid who could not imagine living in a world not being 100% authentically myself. Now the people that are in my life and that I call family, I never would have met. I've said this before in a video, one of my favorite poems ever is by Shel Silverstein, and it's about a person who's blue, and they're going through their lives with a mask over their face. And they're trying to find someone else who's blue like them. But the person that they walk by that also happens to be blue is also wearing a mask. And they just never find each other. The moment you start being 100% yourself, the good people are gonna come out the woodworks. You're not gonna be best friends with everyone. That's just not gonna happen. So at least be best friends with yourself first. And like who you are. And then like-minded people will follow suit. So I'm by no means an expert on coming out, but I have traveled America twice on tour, talking to young queer and trans kids and their supportive parents about my coming out experiences, hearing all of your guys's. And for Pride Month, I want to make a mashup video of a bunch of tips and tricks that I have on coming out and coming to terms with who you are and just being content with that. Things that I wish I could just go back in time and shake a baby Miles and be like, you're gonna be okay, is what I try to give to you guys. So for Pride Month, I've teamed up with Google, which is a huge corporation that's making a statement to be pro-LGBTQ+. So first of all, thank you. Google is celebrating LGBTQ+ families for Pride Month. What I want you guys to do is go to pride.google and check out the video they have on there. It highlights the different diversities of family and what the word family can actually mean. It can definitely go beyond blood relatives. When I moved to Los Angeles, I found so much family that I was not related to. They're my chosen family. They're people that took me in, that showed me love, that keep me safe, that accept me. So the whole thing is that Google wants to hear from you guys and they want you to upload a picture of your family, whatever that means to you. Share your family portrait like I did with @Google and use the hashtag #ThisIsFamily. I uploaded a sappy picture of some of my family members at LA Pride and I'm excited to see your guys' families. So link is in the description box, go share your family and get involved. Okay, so now here are my tips to come out. Hi. Come out fully to yourself before anyone else. Come out fully to yourself before anyone else. I fell into this weird thing where when I was trying to figure out things, I shared it with people who then were not supportive while I was still trying to figure out things, because it's scary. It's not like you're born with this roadmap of like, here's how I feel and here's what these words are. Like, it's a process. When you're born into and growing up in a world where everyone's like, hey, everyone's straight, and whatever gender you're assigned at birth, like, that's the gender you are. And if you feel any different, that's wrong. It's so scary to stray from the pack, and that's an evolutionary thing. If you strayed from the village or you did something different than what the pack was doing, your chance of survival went down, and your chance of finding resources was so limited. So I think it's kind of ingrained in us to follow what everyone else is doing, just as a subconscious act of survival. So, and equally so with gender and sexuality. You're consistently told it's against the Bible, it's not something you want to be, it's not something okay, so you're like, alright, well I can't be that. Because everyone's saying that's terrible, so like, where does that leave me? I opened up to people before I came out saying, I think I want to go see a gender therapist, and they told me no, and I didn't. Because I trusted them, and I threw away my binders. And in hindsight, it's like, what? But when you're in such a vulnerable state, and the risk of being yourself is losing the people around you, it's funny the things you'll do for people that really just genuinely don't care about you, but they like the idea of you. When you're coming out to a parent, give as much information as you can. I'm gonna use borrowed words from one of my friends, but they said fear and hate are best friends. People react poorly to things because they're scared. The way I look at it, before you come out, it's not like the day before you're like, I'm straight, and the next day you're like, I think I'm gay, I'm gonna tell everyone and come out. Woo, pride. There's so much time in between where you're figuring out who you like, who you are. You're garnering information either from your friends or the internet, and then you come out. But your parents or whoever you're coming out to has not had that amount of time to learn everything you've learned. Our parents come from a generation where queer people didn't necessarily equal success. We're living in a time now where queer and trans people are just starting to be on TV. They're just starting to be like YouTubers that people watch. But back in our parents' day and age, a lot of them didn't know a gay person or didn't know a trans person. Things they heard were negative, like the AIDS epidemic that happened when all of our parents were alive. I don't think a lot of times parents aren't like, I hate LGBTQ+ people, but they're more like, LGBTQ+ people are a minority group. I don't know anything about this community. I don't know if they're gonna get beat up. I don't know if they're gonna be happy. I don't know if they're gonna be safe. I've been told all these negative things about these people my entire life, and I want to protect my kid. I think that's where a lot of that hate comes from. No one ever thinks of the antagonist of their own story. No one ever thinks they're the bad guy. I remember going up to one of my family members when I was a teenager, and I was like, hey, if I was like gay, that's wild, but like if I was gay, like what would you do? Like how would that look? How would that story play out? And they were super sweet, and they were just like, you know, we get you help. I would call a priest or someone, and we would help you. Which to me, hearing that was like, that's terrible! That's the worst answer! Not like I would love you unconditionally and I'd want you to love someone that you love, not someone that I'm telling you to love and be intimate with, because that's weird and crazy. But in their eyes, in their point of view, they're like, well, something must be wrong with you, so they thought they would be doing me a kindness. So I find a lot of solace in thinking about the other person's perspective. So give as much information as you can. Send them informational videos. A lot of times kids are coming out as pansexual, and the older generation does not know what that means. And a lot of times the kid that's coming out, at least I know when I was coming out, I was so nervous, and I could not have open communication with the people I was talking to. I was so scared, so I just gave the bare minimum so I was able to come out and say I did it. And then it distanced me from the people that I did come out. If I could do it all over again, I would just like write a book of like, here are things you can say, here are things you can't say, here's what pronouns mean. Don't assume everyone knows everything. I would just give the most information. Have supportive people around you. Let your friends know that you're gonna come out. I don't know what I would have done if at the time I came out I didn't have friends that were transgender and were queer and dressed with a disregard to gender that I was able to go to and sleep on their couches. And if you don't have people around you, go to the internet. The internet has popped our small bubble of our hometown that we just happen to be born into, to our school that we have to go to 7 hours a day, and sit next to people that may not be okay with us, and listen to teachers that may not be okay with us, to even smaller our home life with people that we just happen to live with. Make internet friends, talk to people openly online. It's so incredibly healthy and important to do that. Have a constructive way to get out your emotions. After I first initially came out, it did not go well at all. I felt like I was more in the closet than ever, because it's like, alright, I've just been doing me without anyone knowing, but now everyone knows and they're not okay with it, so like, where does that leave me? Am I able to like make videos now saying that I'm queer, or is that gonna make everyone more mad at me that I'm talking about it and I'm not being quiet about who I am anymore? I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have YouTube as an outlet, because I started making videos so much when I was so sad. And no one really knew I was so sad. People were questioning why I was making a lot of videos in my car at certain points in time, because I couldn't talk about the things I was talking about in my house at the time. Making a YouTube video and knowing it'd be received by people that were like-minded, that made me excited and that made me happy. And it kept me busy. But I think my most important tip with coming out is to be the best that you can with what you have around you right now. Be the best that you can with what you have around you right now. I was really sad and I started self-harming. And I remember blaming everyone around me. And I remember using everyone around me as a scapegoat for why I was doing that and for why I wasn't happy in my life. And I remember a clear moment where I was in my bathroom and I was like, oh my god, I'm doing the same thing that everyone else is doing to me. At the time, people around me were using Jesus as a scapegoat not to be nice to me. And I was like, oh my god, I'm using other people's ignorance as a scapegoat to hurt myself and not buck up and just be the best I can with what I have around me right now. It will never be the right time for anything in your life. It will never be the right time to ask her out, to tell them, to get this, to quit that job, to go there, to move out. There will always be reasons to hold you back for whatever you're doing in life, whether it's gender or sexuality related, it doesn't matter. Life is messy. You just gotta do things because it's authentic to you and you honestly just wanna do it. I was like, no one put this drink in my hand or put this in my hand or told me to go there or say that or do this. I'm choosing to be negative about the situation. But you know what? Now I live in a place that I love, I'm doing what I love, I'm surrounded by people I love, and my mother calls me her son now. And it gets better. And for so long, I kept asking myself, like, bitch, when? Like, instead of getting my Hogwarts letter, can I get my It Gets Better letter? Like, can someone just let me know when it's gonna be fine? Like, can someone let me know when I'm gonna stop crying? Like, can someone tell me when I'm gonna stop defining my self-worth on other people's actions towards me? That'd be nice. And you can't dictate your self-worth and what you think about yourself depending on what others think about you. You have to find that within yourself. And that's done by just being 100% you and having the knowledge to know that not everyone is gonna like you. No matter who you are. I wasn't being myself, and when I recognized that, I was like, oh my god, everyone around me would not like me if I was being this, but that's me. So then who would like me now? The people that don't like me here? I'm confused. Wear what you want to wear, be referred to as what you want to be referred to as, and do whatever it is you need to do to feel the most you. Regardless of what anyone else has to say about it. Because then the people that jive with that will recognize that, will understand you, and will find you. And then you will have that love and support. There's a million more things I wish I could say to your faces. If there's anything this video's hopefully taught you, it's that there are people out there who believe in you. You just gotta go out and find them. I love you so much. Go check out pride.google. Go send in pictures of your family and what you define it as. I love you so much, guys, and happy Pride. Bye!
Has good manners.